let's talk evals. So if you don't know what an eval is basically, it's short for evaluation. So an evaluation is, in the agentic world, is the equivalent to a prep test, right? Or a practice test. So what I mean by that is when you have an LM or an agent, you want it to complete a bunch of tasks, but you need to make sure that it can complete those tasks and handle edge scenarios really well before you deploy it in to production. So the same thing is what we do with students and when they're learning, right? And you have to get into the mindset that dealing with an agent is like dealing with a student who has short-term memory loss. So the best way to get the student to perform well is to give them a very, very specific set of instructions, which we call skills in the agent world right now. And these skills are the equivalent to an instruction manual or a practice test or basically an instruction manual, not even the practice test. But what you need to do is get to that skill and to the framework and the guardrails and the prompts and the words that'll make your agent behave properly. And in voice, that's very important because voice has a latency or a speed latency where you need to answer questions very quickly, which means that you need your system prompt to not be filled with garbage or to have anything extra that it doesn't belong there. It needs to be more goal oriented with guardrails and then the ability to kind of stay on, to have some flexibility with how it can talk without throwing it a whole book that it has to, think about each time. And this is also why thinking models aren't great on videos and everything. Back to evals. So evals, like I was saying, are what the equivalent to students taking a practice test. And so what you do is you run a battery of these evals against your agents. And this is what we do in Kai calls when I go and set up, or when we set up an agent for any business, is we run them through a battery of evals that is based on the goals that they want to accomplish. Could be collecting data, asking name, asking 10 questions. It could be because you need the agent to be able to handle multilingual, right? So if someone's speaking in Spanish and then they start speaking in English, you need to test that to make sure that it works well and that the conversation can continue so the human won't hang up, because you definitely don't want them to hang up, because then you've lost. Like, the entire point of an AI voicemail secretary type of service is for people to call.